Hey, Mason Young and Tyler Waldrep of the Tulsa World here at Paycom Center in Oklahoma City, where OU just beat OSU 80-65 in a non-conference Bedlam game here in this 2024 to 2025 college men's basketball season. Sam Godwin leads the way for OU, the local kid from Southmore High School, dropping a career-high 20 points on OSU to lead the Sooners to victory. And Tyler, OSU unfortunately kind of no-showed in this game.
Yeah, especially offensively. And that's the thing that was crazy to me. I mean, this team, obviously Oklahoma is by far the best team that Oklahoma State's played all year. But up until this game, Oklahoma State has consistently shot 42% or better all year. One exception, neutral site game against Florida Atlantic, where they shot okay, I think about 35%. I mean, shot, I think 21%, 26%. I mean, it was hovering almost right at 20% for most of the first half. And this team couldn't overcome that, and nor did they try. I asked Steve Lutz about, only attempting 6 3-point shots in the entire second half. 2 of those came in the final 2 minutes. And so they were trailing by 20 points for most of the game, and they just didn't take 3-point shots. But Steve Lutz said that was the plan.
Yeah, they were, Tyler. They were like sort of in it a little bit early, right? A lot of that was due to the fact that there were some questionable calls going against OU, and OSU was being able to get to the foul line at a pretty good clip there early in the game. But once OU stopped fouling and just playing technically sound defense like they know how to do, turning the ball over, getting runouts, things started to snowball for OU going the high side. And Jeremiah Fears, OU's freshman point guard, had one of the highlights of the first half of the run-out dunk that forced Steve Lutz to call timeout. So he was the one getting fired up there after Porter Moser had been yelling at the refs for most of the first half. So Fears, 17 points once again, as advertised. He's had a great freshman year and is going to be probably a one and done. We talked about Godwin, but really cool to see him in his final Bedlam game of his career. He's obviously a fifth-year senior that this is last year in Crimson and Cream. So for him to get to take home the Bedlam trophy, which he has actually been keeping in his living room since the last Bedlam game last year that OU won in Stillwater, to now get to bring that back and put it back in his living room after the performance he had tonight. 20 points and 14 rebounds is pretty cool. Thought Kobe Elvis was also really good for OU tonight. Hit 5 3-pointers for 15 points. That was a nice bounce-back performance for him after he didn't score when OU played Alcorn State last weekend. So things looking up for the Sooners. They're 10-0, still one of the very few remaining undefeated teams in college basketball. But Tyler, now the third loss of the season for OSU. Where do they go from here ahead of this Tarleton State game coming up, their next game at home?
I mean, I think the question mark is Oklahoma is, at least for what we see right now, it's early, but this is the kind of competition Oklahoma State's going to have to play regularly in the Big 12. So, I mean, to me, it's concerning. The offense, Steve Lutz wasn't happy with pretty much anything. I totally understand the way the game went. I thought the defense was okay early. Oklahoma, despite shooting well, looked flustered. They kept fouling. They fouled in transition. They fouled on defense. But none of that seemed to matter because Oklahoma State shot well at the free throw line, but otherwise couldn't hit anything for the longest stretch in the first half. To me, I think that's a big issue. And if you look at the games coming up, I don't know that there's going to be another defense that Oklahoma State can really test itself against until Houston. I believe that's December 30th. So that might be the next time we get a chance to see if Oklahoma State's offense can actually play with a defense of this caliber. To me, that's the most concerning thing. I don't know that there's any players that were exceptionally worth highlighting. Jamiron Keller came in at the last, I think, 5 minutes of the first half, got 5 points and 3 rebounds, and I think a 1 or 2 minute stretch. Really seemed to spark the team briefly. I expected him to play more in the second half, and he really didn't get much run. I mean, again, I don't know that would have changed things, but, we've seen Oklahoma State use a ton of players this year. I'm just surprised he didn't get more run tonight. I'll be interested to see if he maybe earns a larger role in the coming weeks, if maybe he can do that more. Again, it was only 5 points and 3 rebounds. He didn't change the game, but I don't know that he had the chance to. But I'll just be interested to see what happens when Oklahoma State plays Houston, and I'm not sure we'll learn much about this team until then.
Yeah, well, I know one thing OU coach Porter Moser did say in his post-game press conference. He's actually rooting for Steve Lutz and the Cowboys and company. He wants this to continue to carry on as a resume win for OU, which is looking to it's tournament or bust for this OU team that hasn't made it to the NCAA tournament in the past 3 seasons. So OU's got another big one coming up, another big chance for a resume win, or possibly could be their first loss, a tough opponent, playing Michigan in the Jumpman Invitational in Charlotte, North Carolina on Wednesday. Same night OSU's playing Tarleton State. So that's a very big game for OU coming up, and they're fortunate to have momentum on their side going into that one, but that's another one that you want to definitely win in non-con and add to your resume, because the SEC schedule, as we know, is going to be really tough. The SEC is kind of taking up the mantle from the Big 12, and I'm not saying that to take away from the Big 12. I think OSU is going to have a lot of challenges this season, but the SEC right now has kind of taken the mantle from the Big 12 as the toughest conference in college basketball. They've got, as of the last ESPN bracketology, 12 teams out of their 16 predicted to get into the NCAA tournament. So a lot of bids for the SEC this year. OU ranked number 13 in the AP poll right now, hoping to be one of them. That's all from us from Paycom Center. Appreciate everyone who followed our live coverage on Twitter tonight, and stay tuned to TulsaWorld.com, OUSportsExtra.com, OSUSportsExtra.com for more coverage of OU and OSU basketball and other sports to come in the coming days.